Thank you guys for coming. We're going to give you guys an update on the drone program and how we're utilizing it to assist in patrolling the Bosque. So I'll hand it over to Mayor Keller.
Okay, well, good afternoon, and we wanted to touch on a few things this morning with respect to, of course, as was mentioned, fires, but also what we're doing with technology. So I think I want to begin with a couple of things. Remember, Chief and I got together, it was about 3.5 years ago, and we said we got to fight crime a different way than just saying we have to have a bunch of more officers. We want more officers, we've grown the ranks, and we now have 4 academies, but we can't just keep waiting. So the answer was civilians and technology. Today we're going to focus again on that technology side because we have another chunk of this important crime fighting technology rolling out. And we also have repeatedly stated when people ask, where our crime stats are and so forth, we know, one, that crime had been at an all-time high, and now it is coming down. And we believe the reason why is because of civilians and because of technology. So we're doubling down on both of those efforts. And you see them play out here with respect to how we're trying to keep our open space areas free from forest fires and also invest in additional crime fighting technology. So what we're showing here, excuse me, and this is a loop. So what you're going to see is how we're using drones to actually monitor the Bosque. And so the city, with the help from the state, has invested in drones, a drone program that will now operate citywide. And part of that is also monitoring what's happening in the Bosque. Now, this is especially important for a couple of reasons. Number one is they can obviously cover ground that officers and things can't. Some of them also have infrared technology, which is relatively common. Our helicopters also have this. But that's really important because we can use them at night, and we essentially can also see through a lot of the leaves in different situations where we can actually detect a fire is going to show up on our infrared cameras. So this technology for us is something that we wish we would have had for a long time because it's extremely powerful for early detection of fires and also for pinpointing exact locations so we can GPS them with the drones and then send in folks obviously to extinguish the fire. So these are going to be operating this weekend, 4th of July, and this is going to be part of, in general, a broader program throughout the city. And so for us, this is in addition to things like ShotSpotter and license plate readers, other crime fighting technologies that we know are helping bring crime down, and essentially are ways that free up officers to actually fight violent crime, or in this case, to accurately identify where a fire might be in a much faster way than line of sight or just relying on reports. So the other aspect of this is we are going to be using our partners at the National Guard. They are using, they're versed in how to monitor this from the Real-Time Crime Center. So this is an example, again, of the civilian side of that equation. In this case, folks from the National Guard who are going to be helping pilot and work with the video footage of these drones. So Chief's going to go into these in detail, but we want these to be really our eyes in the sky. They're also going to scan for smoke. And the last piece of this is they also work in conjunction with our actual heat detection sensors that we are piloting. Some of you heard about this. This is through our Parks and Rec division and our Environmental Health division. So we have heat sensors now on Central, on the bridge, Central across the Rio Grande, and we just put another one on Rio Bravo. And literally, this is an hour ago, we put up that sensor and we detected a fire within 10 minutes. This has just happened an hour ago on Rio Bravo and the Bosque. And what we did is forward it to the county, and they were able to extinguish the fire and so forth. So that was county jurisdiction. So that their fire department took that call, but it was because of our pilot program for heat sensors. So we've got eyes in the sky, and then we have heat sensors on 2 bridges. And again, we're testing that program out. We obviously want to put it in other places as well if it works out. So that's where we're at with respect to our crime fighting technology as a whole, and also how we're using this during especially forest fire season. So with more on this, I'll hand it over to our chief.
I first want to start with thanking Mayor. 5 years, it's coming up on 5 years that I became chief, and we talked about, Gilbert was recently talking about the advancements in technology that we have and how we've really leaned on technology to take us in a new direction as a department and the success we've had it. But recently we were kind of doing the math, and we've, in the last 7.5 years, invested almost $100 million into technology for the Real-Time Crime Center and our different investigative units. So Mayor, thank you for your investment in our technology and everybody else who's assisted us in making sure that we have the technology. You know, recently, the past couple of weeks, we had a number of fires in the Bosque, and a lot of these fires have been the result of an individual who's turned on the fire. We did take one person into custody. I know we are having our consistent, typical battle with the courts, and we've assigned detectives to try to strengthen that case so we could get it back in front of the courts. But our goal is to take individuals into custody and quickly get on top of a fire. Drones for the Albuquerque Police Department are a game changer in a lot of ways. Like Mayor stated, we talked about it earlier this year. While a lot of people are talking about the future of drone programs across this country, ours is actually reality. We have our first Hive up. We've already beta tested, and we have our authorization from the FAA for out of line of sight use of our drones. And last week, when a lot of the incidents occurred in the Bosque, I was talking to some of the deputy chiefs and to Gilbert, and I said we should use drones to patrol the Bosque. It only makes sense. So what we're going to be doing is using our drones to assist in looking for fires, looking for suspicious people, looking for possible suspects in incidents where a fire does occur, but also using them as a deterrent so the public knows that there are drones that are patrolling the Bosque. It only makes sense, the layout of the Bosque, that you can't always get to all areas unless you actually physically get off on foot and walk through some of these wooded areas that the drones are going to be able to capture footage that we don't always get. As you can see here, has a lot of possibilities, and we quickly are able to look for suspects or look for activity. I think it's important that we remember fires impact the city greatly. I still remember being a young patrol officer when the big fire broke out in the Bosque, and how for days it impacted the Albuquerque Police Department. Every side street had to be closed down by an officer. The areas had to be secured, and we basically were shut down as a department in fighting crime for days as that fire was battled. We also still see the Bosque. It changed it forever. Natural resource changed forever, and it's never been the same, and we continually work and monitor fires in the area. So we know that we want to protect our natural resources. We're using technology in 2025 to be able to expand our efforts and to lessen the impact. In the past, we'd be assigning officers, PSAs, and a lot of resources to be up and down the Bosque, when now we're going to be able to be more efficient with the use of our drones. The goal is prevent fires, deter individuals from starting fires, but to quickly be able to identify that a fire has been started, find out who is in the area, and then direct officers into those individuals that we suspect may have committed some kind of crime. So we will be utilizing our technology, passing this information on to whoever the primary investigative source is for anything that may occur, and also making sure that the public knows that we've utilized technology and we've really expanded our abilities using drones to patrol in a way that I didn't think people thought of 6 months ago. When we first started talking about our drone program, we talked a lot about how it was going to go to shot spotter activations, how it was going to help us identify suspects. But now look, we've been able to evolve the drone program into assisting us with protecting one of the most important aspects of the city of Albuquerque, and that's our natural resources that are out here. With that, Gilbert, anything else? JJ, want to say anything? We'll give stand to JJ. JJ.
Just a little bit about the drones themselves. They are equipped with, as the mayor said, thermal imager, or as other people might know it as forward-looking infrared. So we should be able to detect any fires in the very nascent phases of the fire. They do have a range of about 7.5 miles. We're seeing about 8 miles out of the drones. They'll fly at about 45 miles an hour, and we have about 40-minute flight time on each battery. So if there's any questions about the drones themselves, I'll stand by for those. But As the chief and the mayor said, this is, and a lot of our other technology is truly a game changer for the Albuquerque Police Department. One of the things that we were required to get in order to launch this program was, it's an FAA waiver called Beyond Visual Line of Sight. APD was one of the first departments in the country to get that waiver. So we're able to fly the drone from the real-time crime center or on site with a drone operator, for example, in the Bosque. But that beyond visual line of sight was a real achievement by the Albuquerque Police Department.
Questions? I'm Jessica, Channel 13. You mentioned it would start going into effect if you start using it this 4th of July. Will it interfere with like fireworks and all of that as well? And is that a concern at all with people throwing up fireworks and these drones flying around citywide?
No, it's not.
But it is something we'd be enforcing. There should be no fireworks in the Bosque. So if somebody was using fireworks there, it would be a concern for us to investigate.
How exactly are you guys planning on like utilizing this? I mean, the Bosque is really big. Are you just going to use a drone to patrol the whole Bosque or just certain areas, or how is that going to work?
It's going to have to be broken into certain areas, and it's going to be a combination of individuals on the ground launching it and flying it, and people from the real-time crime center. So there'll be a balanced approach. They'll have a pattern that they fly through it. But as Deputy Chief Griego stated, they have an 8-mile range. So if you figure that's basically from Alameda almost down past Central. I think Alameda to Central is somewhere near 7 miles. So we're 1 mile past it. So from a fixed location, they could pause from a fixed position in the north. If they're at the northernmost part of the city, they could almost cover all the Bosque that falls within the city. So when they centralize somewhere in the middle part, they're going to probably be able to cover the entire Bosque.
But just to make it a little bit more clear, is it going to be deployed once you guys get a call about a fire, or it's just before?
No, they're going to be proactively patrolling the Bosque.
We also have the helicopters out there and the boats and patrols, so there's a lot more to that.
So when you guys say drones, are you planning on having multiple drones flying at the same time? Or are you planning on circulating drones to keep one active? Or are you going to have like multiple?
It makes more sense for us to have circulating drones than just multiple drones out there at the same time because of battery life. So we're probably going to have one drone. But like Deputy Chief Griego said, they can go up to 45 miles an hour. And if you kind of use that as a rule of thumb, within 5 minutes from a central part, they could be at both extremes of the Bosque.
Okay, so just to be clear, it sounds like you're going to have one singular drone proactively circling and patrolling and coming down to charge, maybe change out batteries, but it'll be actively patrolling.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yes.
Will that one singular drone be active like all the time, or is it just going to be like certain hours a day, or fire danger days? Just
I'm pretty sure JJ, it is going to be just periodically through different times of the day. Because you got to remember, we still have the boats out there, we have the helicopter, we have open space units, we have PSAs now assigned to the Bosques, so they will find which is the best coverage for us to have.
How many drones to monitor the Bosque do you guys have, and how much do they cost?
So each drone is about $15,000, and we have, at this point, we have about 10 of them.
If you guys see anything like a campsite, are you guys gonna go educate them about not having a fire and other dangerous things that could cause a fire in the Bosque?
Yeah, if they see a campsite, obviously we'll go above that. We'll send resources through other city providers also to make sure to see if we can't these individuals housed or get them out of the Bosque from the illegal camping. But we typically don't see fires in the summer. It's an issue we see with a lot of the unhoused during the course of the winter. But we generally, as a rule, in the summer months, don't see as many fires unless it's an extremely cold night. But yes, if they do run across something that is unrelated to the fire that needs to be dispatched, that's exactly what we do, is just have officers go out there.
Can you elaborate again a little bit about the fire that you mentioned happened this morning and where exactly that was?
So we just
No.
ran into someone on our way over, and they were setting up the sensors and told Mayor that they had just spotted one. So BCFD went out and responded. So yeah, they might be the best agency
Yeah,
to reach out to.
I have details on this
And
one.
that was like the sensor where that you said detected that?
It was Rio Bravo and
The river.
In the river, yeah.
Rio Bravo in
That's
the
where
river area.
They were working on setting up those devices
Those
that Mayor was
devices.
talking about, and they spotted one while they were out there with technicians.
And you guys said the use of this will not interfere with day-to-day flights and airline regulations?
Yeah, there's rules we have to follow, and these rules that we have to follow don't allow us to fly in certain areas where it would impact that.
Do you guys plan just using it during the 4th of July or until summer ends, or?
You know, we've talked about it. Our drone program is getting launched citywide. This is only going to grow in the months to come as we continue to add drones on. Our ultimate goal is 8 or 10
Hives?
hives.
Mhm.
8. Our ultimate goal is 8 hives. Each hive can house up to 10 drones. So if you think about it, our drone program in the future, just fixed drones to launch from a fixed location, is going to equal about 80 drones.
Any other questions?
Yes, Mark.
I know you guys have been using drones out in the field also for a while. Is there any specific reason you guys are using the Skydio aircraft over other options?
You know, for us, it's always been about building a process that is interchangeable with one another. Skydio works a lot with Axon, and they are a partner with Axon, and it ties into a lot of our technologies. Our drones are actually going to be able to live stream to our officers and to command staff from flight so that we could get live updates from the drone if we choose in the near future. You have anything else you want to add to that?
Just the big thing was its integration with Axon, which we already have. The features of the drone itself we looked at, and this was just the one that suited us the best.
The answer is perfect.
Jessica?
And Chief, can you just speak overall, I guess, about the issue of arson that we've been seeing? Would you say this is, an uptick that maybe you haven't seen before in previous summers, or can you just speak a little bit about
We've always had individual cases, but it seems like we had a busy weekend. We had 3 fires in the metro area, one down Los Lunas, a couple some in Albuquerque. So we're very concerned. We know that, this is the time of year that it's more dry than other parts of the year. We haven't had great moisture this year, so it is a concern. And like I said, my biggest concern is also the potential impact of a fire. I know that people talk about, fire department would be putting out the fire, but it'd have a huge impact on the police department. I remember the Bosque fire back in, when was it, 2001, 2002, and I remember the amount of time we spent blocking streets leading to the Bosque for fire, and it took every resource we had, and we had a command post set up at the Home Depot at Quail and Coors, and with just a massive amount of police resources were used. So we want to be proactive and prevent a fire like that breaking out again, because our number one goal is to continue to fight crime. We want officers out there taking people into custody, stopping drug dealing, responding to emergency calls for service, and us not be stuck in a position where we're working so much as a support for a fire that's broken out in the Bosque.
One last question from my side. What would be your message to people who say technology is going to end with a lot of jobs of police officers? I know we make it clear that it's going to help you guys, but for those people who I think that...
We've been trying to get to 1,000 officers for a long time. We're hoping to get there this year. But realistically, we know the city of Albuquerque needs more officers than that. But we also recognize that it's not just doing a function, it's doing functions that a regular officer couldn't do. We would need 20 officers positioned in the Bosque to be able to see what we could get from a drone in 5 minutes on both sides of the river. Drones have the ability from their height to gather video evidence, which helps us prosecute cases. They get live information out to officers for officer safety reasons. So there are so many reasons why a drone is so important to police officers, and I'm not too concerned about them replacing officers, because it's just never going to happen. A drone can't write a criminal complaint. They can't take somebody into custody. It's just an additional tool to help our officers become more efficient.
And not to go too much longer on it, but can you talk again about the range of these drones from the Hive? And is there a possibility that these drones can be used for other fires farther in Albuquerque?
So the advertised range for the Skydio X10 is 7.5 miles. That is contingent on EMI, or electromagnetic interference. Depending on where we're at, it may increase or decrease the range, but on average, we're seeing about 8 miles of range on the device. And I want to go back to your other question about aircraft. All of our drone pilots are Part 107 certified by the FAA. The drone is equipped with anti-collision technology as well as ADS-B, so that allows us to be able to deconflict with aircraft.
Perfect safety. And so, on that note, the 7-mile radius, is there a specific range where it's going to operate from? Is the hub set, or is that hub able to transport as well?
So the hub, the hive itself
Yes.
is actually, it's stationary, it's pretty heavy, weighs like 300 pounds. But it is movable should we decide that the location it's at is not really working for us. We can move that hive to a different location.
Perfect.
Any other questions? All right, thanks. Have a good afternoon.